Hello class, welcome back to the lesson. Today's lessons we are going to be talking about setting up an identity. Now what is an identity? An identity specifier in this case will be those keys that we don't want to generate ourselves. We don't want to come up with those keys. It could be like student number. If you have got, let's say, 10 people, it's easy to come up with student number without duplication. But then if the number increases to 50, 100, 1000, you might not be able to come up with consistent student numbers that are not repeating. So how do you confirm that you don't have repeating numbers? You use what you call identifier. Now within SQL Server Management Studio, there's a specific way to do this. So let's watch how do we do this. We're going to start today with going through our facilitator table. You need to watch the video first about primary keys before you arrive into this one. So I'm going to say, let me look into the design. There we go. And I'll also want to have a look if there's data inside. It's very important to look first for the data. So I will say select top 1000. And then I can see there's no data within my database. And then I want to see how does it look like. It already has a primary key called facilitator ID. So how do you set up an identifier? So say this key called facilitator ID, I want it to be generated, let's say from 100, 200, 300, things like that. So I will say highlight that key. It's very important to highlight it. Come to my column properties. You saw me scrolling the column properties so that it comes up here so that you can see what we're doing. And then from here we're going to look for what we call identity specification, which is this option. Now within this option you will see that it is by default turned off. So what you need to do on is turned off, you need to turn it on. So you can't turn it on from this no, you have to go to the second no, which says is this an identity. But this can only happen if you have highlighted the key itself. So you come here, is this an identity? You change it from no, it becomes a yes. And as you can see, it's now going to give you options to say, okay, it agrees that it's an identity and it's always going to increase by 1 each time. But where does it start? That is the seed, identity seed. I'm going to say start calculating at 100 and always increase by 100 as well. So if I've done that, I'm just now going to press my save button. That information has been saved. So how sure are we that this thing has been in fact put in place? We right click facilitator, we go to edit top 200. This is to try and put information within our table. So I'm going to right click, and then from here you can quickly see that all the values are null. There's nothing within our database, within our table. But if you go through these nulls, there's a change of color. I'm not sure if you are able to pick it up. This null is no longer black like the other one. It has got some brownish color, however color it is, but it's no longer the same as this. This means that you are not allowed to put values here. Even if you try to type, it's not going to allow you to put values there. You are only allowed to put values here because this value here is going to be generated by the system starting from the value 100, and the next person, it will add another 100 to become 200. So let's see. If I was to add facilitators, I will add Tendo, who stays in Randburg. There we go. It will automatically put 100 there. That is our seed. So the second person, I can then say this is Shana, who stays in, let's say, Ferndale. However it's written. You see now it's always increasing by 100. So it started at 100 and it will forever increase by 100 because of that seed and that increment option we said always increase by 100. But then from here I can then go make some more changes so that you see what happens. But I'm not going to do this now. You have to challenge yourself and see if you are able to make identity specification. Let me do the last person, which should be given, and then who stays in 10Bs. Even it's allocated the number 300. And remember, this is now our IP address, and it will never repeat. It will always look to increase and look for an available option to avoid repetition of values. So let's go do the same with a table that already has data inside. I'm going to right click and go to select top 1000 rows. You will see that this table already has data and it does not have an identity specification. So if I right click again and I go to designers, and then I highlight this key here, which is the student number, and then I start looking for identity specification. There is my identity specification. I expand on it. I change the second no to become a yes. This is to allow that this becomes an identity. And then let me look through my data. Where was I on student numbers? My student numbers were working on 2019-01. So this is where I'm going to start as well. I'm going to say, please start with 2019-01 and always increase by 1, because I think that is what we're doing in the previous one. We're at 01, 02, 04, 03 was removed at some point. So once I've done that, the only thing left is for me to press the button save. So information has been saved. I can go back and say right click, edit top 200. This allows me now to put information. So I'm going to start putting here, because as I told you, this you are not allowed to write here. Let's say we bring back Tendai. So we say Tendai. In fact, Tinashe is the one missing. Tinashe. And he is a male. You will see that is given student number 2019-05. And we can continue to put more people here. We'll say Prudence. And then Prudence is a female. It will continue to increase by 1, generating this number by its own. So this you could think of this as like barcode numbers, ID numbers, all of those numbers that we are not able to generate ourselves because we are afraid we will make mistakes and repeat some other numbers. The system can do that for us.